My name is Amelia, and I was raised in a grand estate by my wealthy Aunt Margaret, who owned a thriving luxury fashion brand. After giving birth to her daughter Lila, Margaret couldn't have more children, so she adopted me as an infant. She showered me with gifts, but I often wondered if it was out of love or pity. When I was 5, I won a local talent show with my piano performance, and Margaret gifted me an elaborate dollhouse. I was overjoyed until Lila, 3 years older, taller, and crueler, ruined it. She gets a mansion for playing a silly tune. Lila sneered. I asked for a pool filled with sparkling juice, and you said no. Margaret sighed. Lila, first you wanted a holographic mirror that only sings praises, then a crown for your cat, and now a juice pool. Amelia's request was reasonable. Be practical like her. Lila snapped back. A holographic mirror builds confidence, which you need to succeed. But you wouldn't get that. You think her little tune deserves a palace because she's your charity case. The words cut deep, but I hid my pain. Margaret urged me to ignore Lila, but it was tough when Lila made it her mission to belittle me. I often asked about my biological mother, clutching a faded photo of her holding me, the edges worn from constant handling. As I grew, things worsened. By 5th grade, I stopped growing at 4'10", the shortest in my class, drawing unwanted attention. Frustrated, I isolated myself, not wanting to burden Margaret, who already had her hands full with Lila's antics. You're like my daughter, Amelia, Margaret would say, meaning well. But the word like lingered in my mind. During a school trip to a carnival, I sat alone until a new girl, Sophie, approached. Tall and bold, she said, "Why are you sitting here like a rock? It's a field trip. Have fun." I muttered. "Thanks for the pep talk. What's your point?" She grinned. "Want to ride with me? I don't want to go alone." At the roller coaster, the attendant stopped me. "Sorry, kid, you're too short. Maybe your mum can ride with you." Mortified, I froze. But Sophie stepped in. "She's with me, her older sister. I'll keep her safe." The attendant shrugged, and we rode together. "You're welcome, Tiny," Sophie teased. From then on, we became inseparable. Her presence a shield against Lila's cruelty. In 7th grade, my high grades earned me a scholarship to an elite summer academy. Margaret, beaming with pride, bought me a sleek bike. Lila scoffed. "A bike she can't even ride properly with those stubby legs." I retorted, "It's for my driver to take me around. Not my fault you only excel at being mean." Lila lunged at me, but I dodged with a graceful spin, landing perfectly across the room. "My goodness, how talented are you?" Margaret exclaimed, enrolling me in a dance team. I quickly became the star, each flawless move making me hope Margaret loved me more. "Your mom was a dancer too," Margaret revealed, deepening my connection to dance and my mother's memory. But Lila's jealousy grew, and instead of bettering herself, she spiraled, sneaking out, squandering money, and surrounding herself with shallow friends. One night, Margaret got a call from the police. Lila and her friends had trashed a teacher's garden and spray-painted nearby cars. Margaret paid a hefty fine to clear Lila's mess. "Why can't you be normal?" Margaret pleaded. Lila shot back. "Normal like Amelia, your perfect little angel. Just adopt her officially and ditch me." I interjected. "Don't talk to Aunt Margaret like that. She loves you, but you act like you don't care." Lila snapped. "Stay out of this charity case." Margaret, fed up, said, "Enough, Lila. I've given you countless chances, and you keep letting me down." Lila screamed, "You got her a home and forgot me. I'm done being second place. I'm going to that fancy boarding school in Italy." Days later, Lila left. I knew Margaret loved me, but Lila was her true daughter, and that love ran deeper, even if it hurt to admit. Margaret hid her sadness, but it was evident. Sophie became my rock, Though her home life was rough, her dad, jobless, vanished for days, then returned bragging about a secret family. Her mum worked tirelessly to support them. Sophie confided, "It's not just that my dad's useless. He lies about this other family. It's nonsense, but it stings. I wish Mum would leave him." I offered, "Come live with us. Margaret likes you and thinks you're a great influence." Sophie laughed. "Compared to Lila, anyone's a saint." When I was in 9th grade, Margaret announced a month-long business trip. "Amelia, this is a huge deal for my brand. You and Sophie will have a blast together." I clung to her that night, dreading her absence. Sophie moved in, and one afternoon, a knock interrupted our lounging. A beggar stood at the door, draped in a shawl and oversized glasses. Her voice oddly familiar. "God blessed you with this grand home. Not because you outwork others, but through luck. Share his kindness, and more will come. Just a few coins for my kids." I agreed to help, but she asked, "May I rest inside? I've been walking all day." Seeing no harm, I let her in. Halfway up the stairs, I realized I'd left my wallet downstairs. Turning back, I caught her slipping a silver vise into her bag. "What are you doing?" I shouted. Sophie rushed out, grabbing the woman's arm. I yanked off her shawl and glasses. It was Sophie's mom. "I can explain," she stammered. "I didn't know this was your friend's house." Sophie was livid. "You're a thief? How could you?" Her mom shrugged. "I ask the rich for help and take a little. They don't notice." Sophie exploded. "Is this your job now? Begging and stealing?" They argued fiercely until I stopped them. "Just go. I'll talk to Margaret about helping." Sophie's mom scoffed and left. Later, Sophie texted, "Home's a mess. Need a few days." I gave her space, understanding her embarrassment. I FaceTimed Margaret nightly, but one evening, she didn't answer. Her assistant revealed they'd lost contact with her private jet after a short flight. My heart sank. The same dread I felt when I lost my mum resurfacing. The next day, the doorbell rang. "Miss me, cousin?" Lila was back. Her boarding school stint cut short. "I heard about Mom," she said. Her assistant told me everything, so I flew back. She'd brought a guest, Ethan, her on-trial boyfriend, who looked strikingly familiar. "Solid 8 out of 10, Lila smirked. I stared at Ethan, my stomach churning. He resembled Sophie. Lila forbade me from speaking to Ethan. "If he's choking, call me. If he's just thirsty, call me." "Got it," she barked. Days later, during one of Lila's tantrums, she tackled me, pinning me down. "I've waited years for this," she hissed. I shoved her off, accidentally knocking Ethan, who tried to intervene. "Man up," Lila snapped at him. "You just watch like a coward." I corrected her. He tried to help. Lila dragged Ethan upstairs, treating him like her errand boy. One day, Ethan struggled with a tray of Lila's extravagant breakfast. I caught a falling plate, and he muttered, "Thanks." A paper slipped from his hand, a birthday card reading, "Happy 18, dear." How was he 18 and in Lila's class? Suspicious. I visited Sophie's house, hearing chaos inside. Her mum swung a ladle at her dad, who was playing on Sophie's prize tablet. "You spent my last $20 on a scratch-off," her mom yelled. He shrugged. "It's an investment. When I win, I'm joining my other family." Sophie whispered, "He's all talk, but it hurts." We left for the park. The weight of our dysfunctional family's heavy. With Margaret still missing, Lila threw a party despite my protests. I saw a chance to investigate Ethan and invited Sophie. We dressed as Lila's failed dreams. I wore a sparkling juice pool costume, and Sophie donned a holographic mirror that chimed, "You're fabulous, Lila." The crowd roared with laughter. Lila fumed, "You look like a pint-sized fountain, Amelia." She smacked Sophie's mirror button. demanding everyone try it. Sophie later cornered Ethan, froze, and bolted to me. "He looks like my brother," she gasped. We debated if he was tied to her dad's other family. At the party's end, Lila and Ethan argued. "You spilled wine on the top designer I invited," she screamed. Ethan muttered, "She wouldn't have picked you anyway." Lila lunged, tripped, and passed out. We rushed her to the hospital, where a nurse with a thick accent confused us. "She's stable, not worse, not better, like a statue." Panicked, I demanded clarity. "She'll be fine," the nurse clarified. "The best doctor's with her." Lila woke, accusing Ethan of pushing her. "Someone tried to kill me." I stepped in. "It was me. Who else?" The police questioned me, but let me go with a warning. Desperate for Margaret, I rallied media attention with interviews and protests. Sophie by my side. Lila partied on, uncaring. One day, Ethan approached me. "Thanks for covering for me. I'm not who you think." He revealed his name was Lucas, Sophie's stepbrother, posing as Lila A.'s boyfriend to find his dad, Sophie's dad, without alerting his wealthy mom's family, who saw him as a threat to their inheritance. "I failed my senior year due to family drama," he explained. "Riri thinks I'm a broke kid, which works as my cover." I promised to help him reunite with Sophie and confront their dad. Their dad agreed to meet Lucas's grandfather for $50,000, collapsing dramatically until paid. Lucas also suspected Lila knew something about Margaret. That night, we searched Lila's room, but found nothing. Lila caught us, casually licking jam off a spoon. Looking for Mom. I already found her. She's got amnesia, stuck on some island. I've been funding her care but didn't feel like visiting. Stunned, I yelled, "Why didn't you tell us?" Lila shrugged. "You were all so cute with your protests. She's fine. Here's the hospital contact. I'm done." She left, admitting she knew Lucas wasn't poor, but enjoyed bossing him around. Days later, Margaret returned, her memory foggy. She pulled out a worn photo of her, Lila, and me. "Amelia, my daughter," she said, tears in her eyes. "Where's your sister Lila?"